This is Intoxicated Literature.
Hello, and welcome to Intoxicated Literature. I am Daniella Drake.
And I'm Evelyn Crow.
And tonight we will be discussing King of Wrath by Anna Huang.
I actually am very excited about this. This was one of my top fantasy reads when I read it because it is just the epitome of what you want in a romance book.
Absolutely agree.
I mean, it is... Oh, sorry. Go for it.
Yes, before we get into it, let's just warn you that there will be spoilers ahead. We will talk about the entire book, so if you have not read it, please push pause, go read the book, and come back to discuss it with us.
Mm-hmm.
And we swear like sailors, so just be aware.
Yep.
And we will be discussing spicy times. So
there are some spicy times in this
book. If you
book.
are not of age, please go away. This is not for you.
No minors allowed. Go away.
No minors allowed. So, yes. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's talk about romance novels because as we mentioned when we were prepping for this book, the reviews for this book seemed to feel like it was a predictable plot.
Cliche. I saw that a lot in a lot of reviews.
So let's talk about what goes into a romance novel because I write romance novels. That is what I write. This is what I do. There are very specific elements that go into making a romance novel.
Do not deviate from the formula. People will be big mad.
Oh yeah, no. There would be like witch hunts. It would be like awful.
It's bad for sure.
So here's the thing. What you absolutely must have, no holds bar, absolutely must have, cannot live without, cannot break this rule, is a happily ever after.
100%.
If you do not have a happily ever after, it is not a romance novel. Period.
Absolutely true. Yep, for
now,
sure.
There are other things that you can kind of play with gently, but there's always like a Act 3 breakup somewhere.
Yes, a misunderstanding, some kind of conflict that comes between them. Yes.
They are separated. Whether it is a full breakup, whether they are not together, whether there is a separation. That usually happens towards the end of the book. Not quite the end. It's kind of towards the end. That has to happen.
I would say like 3/4 of the way through is where you know it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And then they come back together, and then there's the happily ever after. Now, at any other time in between this book, any number of things can happen.
Yes.
Any number of tropes, any number of things. Yes. But the point of a romance novel is not, are they going to get together? You know they're going to get together.
Yeah, when you pick up a romance novel, you know exactly what you are getting.
You know that there are going to be two people. You know that there's going to be an emotional conflict because you know that they are not certain that they are going to be together. The point of a romance novel is the emotional journey those characters get from the start of the novel to the end of the novel. That is the point. That is the journey we're on. It's completely character-driven. That is the point. I don't know why it's surprising when people pick up a romance novel and that is what they get.
Yeah, I was baffled by a lot of the reviews. Like, so many people were like, I didn't even finish this because it felt so tired and cliche. And I'm like, this is exactly what I thought I was going to get.
Okay, so I picked up, you were there with me in Barnes & Noble. I picked up a billionaire, forced proximity, arranged marriage romance. And I went, this sounds amazing. The blurb was great. I was super excited. And I was so disappointed because it was not what I was promised.
Yeah.
And I was so sad because it was not the story that was told I was going to get. And so I was sad. Now, the plot I was promised was not like an enemies to lovers plot. It was a childhood friends to lovers plot.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm like, that is not what I wanted.
That is not your thing. No.
And she was very whiny about the whole thing. And I hated every second of it.
There is nothing worse than a whiny protagonist.
Well, so in that case, I could see complaining about the book.
Sure.
Because I was promised by the blurb that it would be one thing. Right. And then in the book, I got something else.
Well, especially because forced proximity is one of your favorite
Love
tropes.
forced proximity.
You
What
can't
if-
switch
oh,
that out willy-nilly with friends to lovers. That is not the
It
same
still
thing.
was forced proximity, but they were both friends. It was.
Yeah, that's not... Yeah, that's...
Mm.
No. Mm-mm. I
Was
can
not.
see why you would be disappointed.
Was not happy with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was not. It wasn't like I picked up a book that was said to be like fantasy and then ended up being a romance.
Yeah. Yeah. Which has happened to me before.
It's not. It's totally different. It was still a romance. It still had all the clicks that followed a romance. So I don't understand the critiques here.
No, I was surprised because I enjoyed this book. I am not... Listen. I do not gravitate toward romance. That is not my number one pick. That does not mean that I do not enjoy a romance novel,
Mm-hmm.
because I will.
Mhm.
Absolutely 100%. I enjoyed this book. I knew exactly what I was getting when I picked it up. I knew exactly what to expect. And it was exactly what I expected.
It promised exactly what it delivered.
Yes.
And it was...
It was so fun.
Oh my god.
It was so fun.
And Dante was so growly.
So growly. And very much like, don't touch her.
Ugh,
like,
God.
who did this to you
Yes.
kind of vibes, right?
Very like roar.
Yes, yes. Absolutely agree.
Like this, everyone should be eating this up with a spoon.
I was really surprised that people were not liking it as much as I did, because I did like it. And this is the first Anna Huang book. Ooh, I am intoxicated a little bit. Hard for me to get that out. But this is the first book from Anna Huang that I have read. But I really enjoyed it.
She's a
And
good, yeah.
It made me realize that I actually want more enemies to lovers.
Mm-hmm.
This is a trope that I very much enjoy. I forget sometimes that I very much enjoy it. And then I read it and I'm like, oh yeah, this is my jam.
Well, I like
This is forced proximity more than anything, but it does have a little bit of the enemies to lovers thing going on.
more on his side than hers because she was
Yes.
in the dark like the whole time.
Oh, yeah, I felt bad for her a little bit because she's actually trying to make it work.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, well, I guess this is what we gotta do, so okay.
And like he's just like, look, I have to do this.
Yeah.
You don't understand. And she's like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
I know.
And-
I felt bad for her for most of the book
Mm-hmm.
because she had no idea what was going on.
I did like. Okay, this is the thing. Is the names are top tier. Also,
Oh,
The
absolutely
names-
agree. The names were fabulous.
Dante
across the board.
Rousseau
Yes.
is our male
Yes.
main character,
Yes.
and then we have Vivian Lau. I mean, it's just mwah, I love it.
Just rolls off the tongue.
I love it. So,
Yeah.
Vivian is perfectly sweet and lovely and well mannered until she isn't.
Yes.
Until she's just like, I'm
Until she's
fucking done.
done with your shit. Yeah.
And then she's done. She's like,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm done. I'm out.
I love it. I love it though when she finally puts people in their place.
I
Like
know.
it's so satisfying because she has such a long fuse.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just there with her where you're like, no,
Mm-mm.
we're done now. We're
Mhm.
done with this. And then she's like, yeah, you're right. We're done. This is not okay.
Yeah.
I've had enough.
And it was really great when she did it with Dante, because Dante's like, what the
Yes.
fuck is happening right now?
Yes. Every time that she was defiant with him, he was like, what? I have feelings that I don't understand.
I
What is,
know.
why?
I know. It was great. I loved it.
Confusion. I loved it. I thought it was so fun.
Yes.
And every time that he allowed himself to be just like a real person with her
Mm-hmm.
was adorable. Like
Yes.
you see this glimpse of a human being and you're just like, why can't you just be like this? Like just
Mhm.
be like this. Like, and it was so satisfying. Like she did it in such a way that you would see these glimpses just like Vivian did,
Mm-hmm.
where you're like, oh, there is a real person in there somewhere underneath this facade that he's got.
I think one of my favorite moments is when she just showed up at his party.
Oh yeah.
Just unannounced.
Uninvited.
Uninvited.
Yep. I'm here now.
Just showed
But
up.
do you blame her? She's
No.
supposed to move in,
Mhm.
and she has no information, and she's like, what the fuck? Like,
Just shows up.
I love it.
And he's like, what? Why
What are you doing here?
And she's like, well, I'm supposed to move in like tomorrow. So.
So, should I tell everyone that you don't know how to handle the logistics of moving someone in? Like that, you're a big billionaire, right? That doesn't seem like something that you can handle. Like,
and he's literally
what?
just like, what is happening?
But
right
also
now?
like oddly into it.
I know. Like he's totally just like, I kind of like this part of her.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought that was such a cool moment. My favorite moment from the entire book was when Kai Young, another great name, dances with her just to piss Dante off and make him jealous, and it 100% works.
Absolutely.
He like barely even starts dancing with her, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
No.
And then Dante's like, "Get away from her!" Like immediate. It was so good. I loved it. I thought it was so good.
Oh my god. I know. It was great. Oh my god. I
That
love
was
it
such
so
a great
much.
moment. Yeah, that was such a good moment. I loved it. I thought it was so good. I will say, I wanted more spicy times. I feel like there wasn't enough.
Which is something I never thought I'd hear from you.
I know, right? I know. Believe me, I know. But if I'm reading a romance novel, I expect there to be spicy times.
I think though with these two, it worked out okay because they honestly had no idea who each other were.
No, and I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy what spicy times there were. Like I feel like she actually did time it well. Because she did such a good job, I was like,
she does write
we
the
could
spice
do some more.
really well.
Really well.
Yeah.
So I was like, maybe one or two more.
And
Just,
like,
Dante
is like,
yeah.
like,
He's hot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do whatever you
sure.
say. Sure. Vivian agrees. She's like, okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, poor Vivian. She's just trying to survive in this world.
Well, and then she finds out what her dad did.
Oh, her dad made me so mad. Like, so mad. I will say, though, I loved that her relationship with her mom evolved.
Yes.
In the book. I thought that was so good. Like,
yes.
I cried a little bit when she like pointed out to her mom, it's like, when we're together, you criticize me a lot, and I don't really need you to criticize me so much. Maybe sometimes you can just not criticize me. And her mom's like, I just want you to be the best person you can be, but you're right, I'll try to do better. No. And I'm just like, okay.
I know.
It's so sweet.
That's the thing about romance novels. Like, you tell people you read romance novels, and people are like, oh, you're just in it for the smut. It's like, no, it's not just smut.
No, it's the character growth.
There's so much character growth in these books. Yeah.
And it's not necessarily about the main characters that are growing. Like, it's everyone.
The friend groups that these characters have, you can see the core friend groups, and they're strong, and you can see them, and every person has their own personalities.
Absolutely.
And Anna does a really good job depicting that.
Yes.
And you can see, as romance novels do, the setup for every, novel as it branches off. But at the same time, though, it's not just that. You can see how every character relates to each other.
Yeah.
And it's really good. So
for sure.
And so it's not just Vivian and Dante. It's Vivian and her friend group, and she has someone to go to in that, Act 3 breakup.
Yes.
Or Act 4 breakup.
And they don't even ask any questions. It's just like, how long do you need to stay for? Like, that's great. No problem. Yep. Here's some ice cream. It's like perfect. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good. And just like having her, I loved it too because she is obviously very wealthy. She's not a billionaire like Dante is, but she obviously comes from money, but she also gets so much personal satisfaction from her event planning business. And, like, I love that she has a passion outside of him.
Mm-hmm.
That she can be a full, complete, complex person and be in love.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yes. Well, and
I love that.
She's new money. Like, she didn't
Yeah.
have money when she was younger.
Young, yeah.
So she's newer money than Dante is. And that's one of the reasons why her dad was so insistent on having this match, is that he wants her to be part of the, like, New York society or whatever.
I was so mad at him.
God, what an ass.
The entire book. Like, talk about, okay, he does not grow.
No.
At all.
Static character.
Yeah. He does not change. He does not grow. He is just a terrible person from beginning to end, which was really upsetting because, like, when she was growing up, he was a very different person. And so she has this idea of him that isn't really true anymore. And she has to come to terms with that, which I feel like we all eventually do have to see our parents as people. And that's not easy all the time.
It's not.
Like, to see someone that you've idolized for a long time, or that you have this idea of who they are, and then you have to see who they really are, and it's hard to come to terms with that sometimes.
It is.
But yeah, he just pissed me off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, big time.
But you also learn that, you know, Dante's family too, for all the money they have,
Oh yeah.
they're not perfect by any.
His parents are also horrible for a completely different reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Completely. And there's a reason why he's so gruff and, you know, disconnected from everybody and
Yes.
afraid to show who he is. And, you know, there's a reason why when Vivian tries to, like, hey, how you
Engage.
Yeah, he's just like, nope.
Yeah.
So there's that character growth. That's why you read these books,
Yep.
is to see that connection
Yes.
and see it grow.
Absolutely agree. Yeah.
So, no, I love a good forced proximity. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, I know that you really like forced proximity. I do too. But I think I like enemies to lovers better.
I don't know. I think it's because, I don't know. I don't know if it's because I started on arranged marriages, because, like, the first romances I ever read were arranged marriages, because they were historical novels.
Yeah.
Historical romances. And theirs are always, like, arranged marriages.
Yeah. It's true. It's so true.
They're always arranged. So it's, like, familiar. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
That's fair.
But yeah, I don't know. I like a good arranged marriage.
I mean, this was definitely exactly what I thought it was going to be, which makes it an A+ for me. Like like telling me that you're going to write a billionaire for, like, arranged marriage romance and then giving me this book. That's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I expected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But with the added twist that they're real people. They feel like real people.
Also, like, the relationship between Dante and Luca, his brother, also shifts and change and grows in this book, which I thought was amazing. Like, when you first meet Luca, you kind of write him off, because Dante kind of writes him off.
Yeah.
Because he's been kind of this playboy, easy life, like, doesn't really have to be responsible kind of guy for most of his life. He's in his 30s now, and he acts like he's in his 20s, like early 20s, like no care in the world, right? And by the end, he's like, hey, I know you've been forced to act like a parent, but you don't have to do that anymore. Like, we are brothers, and I would rather us be brothers. Like, I don't want you to feel responsible for me.
Exactly.
I want to be a grown-ass man. And that was such a good moment.
Yeah.
It was a really beautiful moment between both of them. You know, it took him dating someone named Leaf to get there, which I thought was really funny. But you know what? Whatever helps you on your journey, right?
And there's that whole, like, secret rich society that they go and visit in New York.
Yeah.
Cracked me up.
Oh my god.
Only the rich people can go and visit. They have their special balls they get to go to.
Okay, but I have a couple of things that I want to talk about this, like, secret society. The first and foremost being when they're getting it on in the limo, and they have to go through the gate that does the scanning, and she's like, wait, what? People know what we've been doing? Like, she's horrified and he's laughing. And he's like, nobody knows. Nobody cares. Like, whatever.
Oh my god.
I thought that was hilarious.
I know.
I was laughing so hard. The driver is just like, I've seen it all. Like, whatever.
That driver
I don't
100%
care.
knew.
Oh, 100%. But I loved it too because he's just like, just another day on the job. Like, whatever. He doesn't care at all.
It's like, am I getting paid? Okay, whatever.
Exactly. Like, whatever. You do you. But also getting to host her, like, big event of the season at that prestigious place was amazing.
Yes.
And he made that possible for her.
Yes.
Which was very nice. Very
Absolutely.
nice. Yeah, I thought that was very well done. Well done.
Well done. Well done, Dante. Dante.
Well done,
His name
Dante.
is Dante.
Such a great name.
God, it's a good romance name.
I know. Dante Rizzo,
God.
you cannot get better. Like, that's just such a good name.
Doesn't he have a villa in Italy too? Isn't he? Like,
He sure
Yeah, he
does.
does. God,
Yeah.
it's perfect. Ah,
Sure does.
Jesus, that's
Yeah.
perfect. I love it
It's
so
so
much.
good.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So I love it too because, like, his proposal where he just says she moves in with him,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they've got this year-long engagement and he's trying to blackmail her dad, and he's just like, you can be in that room, your ring's on the bedside table, like, there's a black MX waiting for you, go have fun, whatever. And she immediately spends $100,000. And what made me laugh actually was $100,000 to a billionaire is nothing.
Nothing.
That's basically $100
Yeah.
to, like, a normal person,
Mm-hmm.
right? I would
That's
actually
it. That's barely the
that's
interest.
like that's
Yeah.
like $10. Like, that's
Yeah,
nothing,
it's nothing.
to a normal person. And he even is like, you just spent $100,000 today, and she's like, whatever, fuck you. Here's a check for $100,000. Like, I thought it was so good.
I know. It was great.
So good.
Man, I loved it.
I thought it was really fun.
It was. It was a fun
Yeah.
book.
I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
And I think it's unfair of the critiques that are
I
comparing
agree.
the two different series.
Yeah, that seems to be the main thing, is that they're saying that Dante feels the same as the character in one of Anna Huang's other series, which I have not read. But also, like,
Again, here's the thing about
Romance-
romance novels. They're
yeah.
archetypes. All of the
Yeah.
male main characters are archetypes. They're going to be similar to each other.
yeah,
So-
it's hard. It's very rare to find a male main character in a romance novel that is a unique, different guy. Like, they're all kind of the same version.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. I just
I'm like, oh, you mean the male main character in a romance novel is kind of similar to another male main character in a romance novel? What?
right. Like, for me, I was like, well, yeah, that's what you're gonna get. Like, I don't know what you were expecting. But if you read a lot of romance, you start to see similarities. It's just the way that it is. That's the way that the genre is. That's the best part of the genre for me, is that you know exactly what to expect.
And that's what
it's comforting in a way. Like, you pick
Yes.
it up, you know what you're gonna get. So,
Yes. And I think that once you start fucking with that, you
That's
run
where you
into
get
a
into trouble.
lot of trouble.
yeah, for sure. That's where you get into trouble, because people expect to get a certain thing, and if you start messing with the formula too much,
And I
you're gonna
say
piss some
this
people off.
as a person who flips tropes around.
yeah.
I say this as a person who plays with tropes. You don't want to play with certain ones. You have to
No.
know the tropes really well
Yeah,
before
for
you
sure.
can do that. And you have to know which ones you can play with.
Yeah.
There are certain ones you do not
Cannot
touch.
touch. No, no, no. No, no. That's for sure.
Because there are certain beats, there are certain things that need to happen to make it a romance.
Yep.
And there are certain archetypes, and there are certain like male main character things that are there that need to happen. I don't know.
I know. I was surprised. I was surprised to because I was just looking at the reviews. Like, sometimes I just refresh myself
Yeah.
of what I've read.
And I mean, readers are allowed to have their opinions. If you didn't like the book,
For sure.
you didn't like the book. But at
For
least
sure.
don't like the book because you didn't like the book.
Yeah. I think that's where I got confused, is that like most of the critiques didn't have anything to do with the book specifically. It was more just they felt that it was, I don't know, too repetitive, too expected, which I thought was hilarious because it's a romance novel, so you have to expect the expected. That's
I mean, every
the whole deal.
romance is the same as every other romance.
Right.
At least in plot design.
Right. There is a formula that goes into writing a romance novel, and that's because that's what's expected. Like, that's what people are looking
and that's
for.
the same as a mystery or a fantasy or
For
any
sure.
other kind of book that you pick up off the shelf.
Yep. Absolutely agree.
I mean,
there's
if a person reads Patterson,
yeah,
and they pick up a Patterson book,
you know
they
exactly
know
what you're getting.
exactly what they're getting out of that book.
Yep. For sure.
They know
Yep.
every page. They know every word. They know every beat that's going to come out of that book. They just know.
Yeah.
And if it's at all different, they're going to be upset.
Yep.
It doesn't matter that it's predictable to them. They know that that's what they're going to get.
Yeah.
That's why they're picking up every single goddamn Patterson book. And do you know how many Patterson books there are?
There are so many.
But that's
So
why
many.
they read them all, because they're
Yeah.
familiar. They know
Yeah.
what they're getting. And it's
I
the
mean,
same way.
Any cozy mystery, any, like, urban fantasy even, like, you know what you're gonna get as soon as you see what genre it is.
Yes.
Like, that's just the way it is. And there could be twists and turns in the plot and stuff, and, like, things that are unexpected and surprising, but structurally,
Mm-hmm.
you know exactly what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And that's no different from a romance novel. That's exactly, you know exactly what you're gonna get structurally from a romance novel.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really surprised to see a lot of the hate for this book. I really enjoyed it.
I
fully
liked it.
expected. Yeah, I fully expected to read a bunch of 4 and 5-star reviews because it is exactly what it promises to deliver.
I'm surprised by that, 'cause I really enjoyed it.
I know, same. I was very surprised. Apparently, everyone really likes the other series, and that's where the main criticism was coming from.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, they, like, a lot of them were talking about how the other series,
The twisted
like,
one.
They said that this felt more like a mirror image of that one or something like that.
Huh.
So I thought that was really interesting.
Well, maybe it is, but I don't care.
And I haven't read the other one, so I can't compare.
I have read the other one.
Okay.
And so the other one is more new adult.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe this just the other one maybe fits the age group better.
Better. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. We're a little bit older and more established in life.
Yes.
Maybe that's why we don't mind this one so much.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
who's reading
I don't know. Yeah.
So
I don't know. Yeah.
I
But
did not
I enjoyed it.
I did not
I
like
thought
the
it was
other one
fun.
as much as I like this one. So
Interesting. That's interesting.
huh. Interesting, I know. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know either, but I liked it.
But I enjoyed this book. So
Yeah. I absolutely.
yeah. Anna Huang, I do recommend the other books in the series. I just finished her latest one, King of Sloth.
Ooh.
That was a second chance romance.
Oh, interesting.
So that was interesting. It was.
I'm
interesting.
seeing more and more of those, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different.
It is.
Yeah.
Because you don't. I didn't see a lot of those for like ever.
A long time. Yeah, it's kind of a newish thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember seeing those like ever, and I've read romance my entire like life. So it definitely seems newer. So King of Sloth was a second chance romance, and because you see him and her as they go through, and they're like they go to events, and then he has to leave to go to work, and she's by herself, and she's all sad. And then
Fair enough.
yeah, the opening of the book is her basically like, I'm done. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I want a divorce. And he's like, wait,
Aw.
what do you mean you want a divorce?
No. Yeah.
I thought we were in love. And she's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I haven't seen you in months.
So
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but I think this one was my favorite of the series.
Yeah, this was a good one to start with, I feel like, because it delivered exactly what it promised. Yeah. And it was fun. The characters I thought were very complex, interesting, well-rounded people. And the sex at times were quite fun to read.
Again, Dante is top notch.
Yeah, for sure. So.
Was it a slow burn? Technically, a slow burn is after 50%. I can't remember when it started.
I feel like they kiss. It might have been right around the 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Which I actually thought was funny because you also picked this book, which you hate slow burns.
But they do have a lot after that. It wasn't just like one scene.
True. But yeah, I do feel like it was a slower burn than one would ordinarily expect from one of your picks. So.
Well, the thing is that's the thing you get with the forced proximity. There is there is a buildup. So
you have to, like, you don't know each other. It doesn't make sense to just jump into bed, like.
Surprise! No.
Surprise! Anyway.
Okay, so we are gonna be veering again.
Yep.
Away from romance to we're going more fantasy.
Yeah.
Like epic fantasy.
We're gonna read Queen and Conqueror by Isabella Olmo.
Yeah, this was actually my top read like a year and a half ago.
Really?
I really enjoyed this book. It was
good.
It was different enough where I went, whoa.
I like that for sure.
So,
yeah. All right. Can't wait to read it. I'm excited to talk about it. This is Daniella Drake.
And I'm Evelyne Crow.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Intoxicated Literature. Drink well, friends.